On a day that began like any other, the Iberian Peninsula was plunged into darkness. A massive power outage swept across Spain and Portugal, leaving millions without electricity. This unprecedented event brought both nations to a standstill. Homes, businesses, and essential services were affected. The outage served as a stark reminder of the critical role electricity plays in our modern lives. The outage began in the early hours of the morning, seemingly without warning. Millions woke up to find their homes without power. Confusion quickly spread as people realized the extent of the blackout. This was not a localized issue. The outage had crippled the entire Iberian power grid. As the sun rose, the true scale of the disaster became horrifyingly clear. Transportation networks ground to a halt, with traffic lights out and trains stranded. Hospitals switched to backup generators, struggling to maintain essential services. Businesses were forced to close, unable to operate without power. The Iberian blackout, as it quickly became known, was a stark illustration of our vulnerability to disruptions in power supply. The incident raised serious questions about the resilience of our infrastructure in the face of unexpected events. It also highlighted the speed at which modern life can be brought to a standstill without the constant hum of electricity. The immediate priority for authorities in both Spain and Portugal was identifying the cause of the outage. Early speculations centered around a possible cyberattack, a growing concern in our increasingly interconnected world. However, government officials were quick to reassure the public that there was no evidence of foul play. As investigators delved deeper, a clearer picture began to emerge. The outage was traced back to a critical failure at a key power distribution hub. This facility, responsible for balancing the flow of electricity across the Iberian Peninsula, experienced a catastrophic technical malfunction. The exact nature of the malfunction remains under investigation. However, early reports suggest that a combination of aging infrastructure and inadequate maintenance may have played a role. This revelation sparked outrage among the public, who accused the government and power companies of neglecting critical infrastructure. The immediate impact of the blackout was widespread disruption and a sense of panic. Supermarkets were forced to discard perishable goods as refrigeration failed. People were trapped in elevators and on public transportation. The economic cost of the outage, although difficult to quantify in the immediate aftermath, was undoubtedly significant. In the face of this unprecedented crisis, the governments of Spain and Portugal acted swiftly to restore power and maintain order. Emergency response teams were deployed across both countries, working tirelessly to assist those in need. The military was also mobilized to provide logistical support and maintain security. Power companies, under intense pressure from the government and the public, mobilized all available resources to repair the damage and restore electricity. Engineers worked around the clock to bypass the faulty equipment and reroute power from other sources. As power slowly began to return to some areas, the focus shifted to supporting those most affected by the outage. Community centers were transformed into temporary shelters, providing food, water, and accommodation to those who needed it. The government also established hotlines to provide information and assistance to the public. The recovery process was slow and arduous. It took several days for power to be fully restored across both Spain and Portugal. The economic impact of the outage was significant, with businesses losing revenue and supply chains disrupted. The event served as a stark reminder of the importance of disaster preparedness and the need for resilient infrastructure. The Iberian blackout served as a wake-up call, not only for Spain and Portugal, but for countries around the world. It highlighted the vulnerability of modern societies to large-scale power outages and the potentially devastating consequences of such events. In the aftermath of the blackout, there was a widespread recognition of the need for preventative measures to avoid similar incidents in the future. Both Spain and Portugal launched investigations into the causes of the outage, with a view to identifying weaknesses in their power grids and implementing necessary reforms. One of the key areas of focus was the need to modernize aging power infrastructure. The Iberian blackout exposed the risks associated with outdated equipment and inadequate maintenance. Both countries pledged to invest heavily in upgrading their power grids, replacing outdated components, and improving overall system resilience. Another key area of focus was the need to improve coordination and communication between different stakeholders in the energy sector. The blackout revealed weaknesses in the existing system, with power companies, grid operators, and government agencies struggling to communicate effectively during the crisis. To address this, both countries pledged to improve coordination mechanisms and establish clearer lines of communication.